How y'all doing, folks? We're teaching Black and Latino history according to the Bible. Our sister here says she's from the tribe of Ephraim, and if you look at the sign there, you see that's the so-called Puerto Ricans, right? Before we get that, give me Jeremiah 50 and 33. We'll come back to that. Jeremiah 50 and 33. Because what a lot of people don't realize, by the way, do you guys see your family on this side of the chart? On one of these sides, where would you see your people? Where would you say your people are from? Say again? Benjamin, West Indian, okay. From the islands. How about you, sis? Judah. All right, American Black, or the dispersion, right? But watch this. I want to show you something. Because now we got Southern Kingdom and Northern Kingdom standing in front of us, which represents the nation of Israel and the nation of Judah. But what you're going to find out is that there's the same people. And I'm going to show you that biblically. Because the things that happen to the so-called Hispanics and Latinos and Native Americans is the same history that happened to the so-called blacks. Watch this prophetically in the Bible. Read.
This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 50 and verse 33. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together.
Read that one more time.
The children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together.
You hear what it said? What did it say? They said the children of Israel, which represents the northern kingdom right here, and the children of Judah, which represents the southern kingdom right here, were what? Were what? Oppressed together. Oppressed together. This is out of the Bible. This is out of the Bible, saying that the histories, what our people forget, and a lot of times so-called Hispanics forget about their history, is that the same things that happened to them in the 14 and 1500s happened to the blacks in the 1600s and on forward. It's the same history, brought into slavery by way of ships. When the conquistadors came with the conquerors, right? What do you think they did when they got the wealth of the land? They also took back people to Spain and to Europe. And what do you think they did over there? They sold them as servants. Just like in the transatlantic slave trade in the 1600s, they took the so-called blacks from the west coast of Africa and sold them as servants. It's called today, as we know it in academia, the diaspora. That's what this is. That's what this represents right here. The diaspora, or the dispersion, or the scattering. No one else can claim this history. Have you heard this before, family? Have you heard this before? Have you heard this information before? Now, let me ask you a question. How did the so-called West Indians get to the islands and get to the islands? How did they get there? The slave trade, right? Now, give me Deuteronomy 26:8. We got to go back here one more time. You familiar with the Bible? You know about Moses? Moses, let my people go, coming out of Egypt. That all sounds familiar? All right, give me 28:15 real quick and then jump to 68. So when we came out of Egypt, Moses went up on the mountain, got the commandments, right? He came back down and he told the children of Israel, these are the laws that your God has given for you to establish a nation. Because remember, when we came out of Egypt, we were coming out of 420 years of slavery. So we had to reestablish a nation. So he said, here are some laws that I want you to abide by. What comes with your laws? Your heritage. Your heritage includes your nationality. It includes the God you worship. It includes your high holy days. It includes how you dress. Do you follow what I'm saying? It includes the day you worship. These are all part of the cultural things that was given to them when they came out of Egypt. But there's a flip side to it. You know what the flip side is? Well, what if we decide not to listen? Because you know that's one of the biggest things we hear often. Well, we have free will. Well, you do. But there's a consequence if you don't listen. Right. But the problem is the Christian church never talks about the consequence. It's only the good stuff. It's only the prosperity. It's only the abundant. You know how many churches around here is called abundant life, abundant living? That was not. But it's all talking about the abundance and wealth and prosperity that you can get for following the laws of God. So then our people come to church expecting money to determine how good they are with God. Don't you know the kingdom of heaven is for you? Don't you know rulership is for you? But you must keep the commandments of God. If you don't, there's a punishment, and we're going to get that real quick because we got to know both sides of the coin. It's not one-sided. You following, bro? All right, read.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
So I want you to understand, Deuteronomy 28, 1 through 68 is the blessings and the cursings given to the children of Israel. 1 through 14 outline all the blessings are the good thing. But you see what verse 15 started with? You know what word it started with? Did you hear it? Read it one more time.
Verse 15. But it shall come.
What word did it start with? But. But means, yeah, I'm giving you all this information. But if you don't listen, it said all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. Right? If the Bible's a true book, then let me ask you this, biblically speaking, did the children of Israel listen to God or disobey God? What do you think? Did they listen or disobey? They disobey. What do you say, sis? What do you say? What do you say? What do you say, bro?
I mean, through me being a history nerd, they disobeyed.
They disobeyed God, right? They're absolutely correct. So my question to you is then, as we read these curses, if the Bible is a true book, it should be evident who the children of Israel are by these curses.
Right.
It should be evidence to it, because we all just said they disobeyed. If the Bible's a true book, we should be able to go through it, and some nation that we see today should fit these curses. They should, right? If the Bible's a true book, you following? All right. Give me verse 48.
Verse 48. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee, in hunger, and in thirst, and in nakedness, and in wants of all things.
So one of the curses says you're going to serve your enemies in hunger, meaning your food sources. So-called black man, Latino man, who does he go to for? Now, we talk about serving your enemies, talking about industry, not someone who has their own little farm, who can feed their family. We're talking about industry, right? So does the black man have an industry, the so-called African-American man? Does he have an industry of food, distribution network, sources, all that stuff? No. So that means he has to get it from another race of people? So does he fit that? Does he fit that curse that we just read?
Depends on your definition of serving.
You just, well, what is, so,
You say serve.
yes.
If you meant like I serve you food or I service you all the things. If it's servicing someone to know they don't fit that image.
Let's read it again. Let's get the context. That's good. So now, because that's the statement you made, we're going to read it again and get the proper context. All right? That's a good point. Let's be clear on it then. Right? Watch this. Read. Yep. Start up again at the beginning. Now I want you to remember, these are curses. They're following. These are curses on the children of Israel for disobedience. So that means, is a curse a good thing or a bad thing? Good thing.
Depends.
Oh wow. Curse?
It depends.
Well, what is a blessing then?
You can still curse. Oh, yeah, okay.
Okay. What about you?
It's negative.
It's negative, right? So that means everything that we're going to read from 15 on down is going to be a negative thing.
Should be a negative thing.
Right, so that context, so that as we read now, it should no longer be confusing as we read these negative things that's supposed to happen to the children of Israel for disobedience. We all said they disobeyed God. We all said that, right? So it should be very clear as we go down. Let's read verse 48 again. Watch this.
Verse 48. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies.
So if you're serving your enemies, is that a negative thing or a positive thing? That's a negative thing. Watch this.
Which the Lord shall send against thee, in hunger.
You're going to serve your enemies in hunger for food. You know how you serve them today? It's not the same as before. You serve them today by going to get a paycheck, and then your money goes directly to another nation of people for your sustenance. You're serving them just indirectly. You're still serving another nation of people. You following? Read.
And in thirst.
The same goes for the Latinos or Hispanic people. They still have to, in order to do any of these things to even supply food chains, they have to get licenses. They have to get approvals, right? Watch this, read.
And in nakedness.
Clothing supply, raw materials, textiles. Do you go to black people? I'm not talking about you putting your name on it. I'm talking about the actual source of the industry. Do you go to your own people? Nope, but a lot of clothes are made in Bangladesh, made in Malaysia, made in the Philippines, made in China. So the other nations don't have to serve that, but you do, black man. But you do. Does the white man? No. He's the captain of industry. Read.
And in want of all things.
Now that last part, remember this is a bad thing, negative, in want of all things. You want a birth certificate, do you go to your own people? Birth certificate?
I didn't have a choice in that matter.
That's exactly my point. That's exactly my point. Your birth certificate, did it come, are you an American citizen? Okay. So you have to get a birth certificate. Do you get it from your own people? Okay. What about you got a degree? I mean, not saying you do. Let's say you do. You got a degree? Okay. Did you go to your own people? Watch this. If you watch when you say HBCU. Watch this.
I did go to HBCU.
Okay.
I know for sure they not controlled.
Smart man. Smart man. Most black folks don't know that. They go, I went to HBCU like it's any different. It's funded by white money too. Right? Spelman is named after a white woman. A lot of people don't even know that. Right? Go ahead, read.
And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck.
Now, if you know anything about history, who did this happen to historically? I'm showing you the pictures. Right? Now, a lot of people say, well, that only happened to them. Well, you see over here, the Native Americans had the same thing happen to them where they were tied up by the conquistadors. It happened to them as well. What are we showing you? That these curses fit us. They don't fit everybody. They don't fit everybody. Who was Moses talking to? He wasn't talking to everyone. Get one and one. Let's get context. Let's find out who Moses was speaking to when he said that I'm going to present to you blessings and or cursings. Let's see who he was talking to. Watch this. Read.
Deuteronomy chapter 1 and verse 1. These be the words which Moses spake unto all Israel.
Who was Moses talking to? Who was Moses talking to? Israel. So if you fit the curses, your ancestry fits these curses. You're not a Puerto Rican. That's the name that the conquistadors gave you. You're not a black man. That's the name that the English or the Dutch or the Portuguese gave you. You're an Israelite according to the Bible. That's who you are. Now I'm going to bring it all the way home historically. It's something that we all know. And we started to read it already in Deuteronomy 28:68. And I know my sister, we already read it for her. I'm going to read it one more time for y'all. I want y'all to catch this because this is undeniable fact. Right? Read 28:68. Watch this. Read.
Verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
Now, what was the condition or the status of the Israelite in Egypt? You already, that's why I looked at you, but you already know, right? What was the status of them? Why did Moses have to say, let my people go? What was their status? They were in slavery. So if Moses is telling them, the Lord says he's going to send you back into Egypt again, what is he saying? I'm going to send you back into what again?
Be the opposite of slavery.
No, I'm going to send you into Egypt again. What were they doing in Egypt physically? So now he's saying, I'm going to send you back. If you don't listen, what is he saying? I'm going to send you back into what? Into enslavement, right? Read that part again. Watch this. Read.
And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
What race of people went into enslavement by way of slave ship? West Africans, right? Now, the West Africans is where they got them from. That's not the original place, but that's where they got the majority from. But when you know history, you know, there was something that happened in 70 AD, all right? 70 AD, which is known as the fall of Jerusalem or the destruction of Jerusalem, where two Roman generals, Titus and Vespasian, sacked Jerusalem, right? And from that point, millions of Jews fled into Africa, right? If you know the history and the history behind Jesus Christ when he was born, when Joseph had the dream, he said, take the child and flee into where? Do you remember? Take the child and flee into Egypt. He said flee into Egypt. Why? Because that is where we fled naturally further into Africa when we were running away from Jerusalem. That's just some additional history, right? I'm just bringing that out. But go back to where we was at. Now remember it said, I'm going to send you back into Egypt again with ships. That only happened to so-called blacks and Hispanics. That doesn't fit the Chinese man as a nation. That doesn't fit the white man. That doesn't fit any other race of people as a nation. You following, bro? Okay. Read.
By the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again.
And it said, keep listening. I know you're over there, but keep listening. It says, and thou shalt see it no more again. You know what the it is? The it is our homeland. The it is our homeland. We are scattered abroad in all the different nations that we've been taken. We're still in those nations today, whether it be the America. We say we're from Georgia. We say we're from Maryland. We say we're from, I don't know if that's Maryland. That's Maryland? Yeah, okay. We say we're from California. Is that really where we're from? We don't know our homeland. But remember, that's a curse from God. Because here in Hawaii specifically, everyone knows where they're from. I'm Tongan, I'm Samoan, I'm Hawaiian, right? I am Portuguese. That's here in Hawaii, right? So everyone seems to know their culture and their identity except us. Why? Because we are the children of Israel. You following that so far? Finish it out.
And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies.
What happened when we got off the cargo slave ships? We were sold. We were sold. This history doesn't fit anyone else. Doesn't fit anyone else. It's undeniable we're the children of Israel. Read.
For bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you.
So now what's the point of all of knowing this, right? Is everybody following right now that you're an Israelite according to the Bible? Are you following that? Are you following that, sis? You following that, sis? You're an Israelite according to the Bible. So then what's the point? Why do I need to know it? Because a lot of people will say, well, yeah, I know I'm Israel, but then they don't feel like there's any value in it. So they do nothing with it. There's value in knowing your ancestry. There's value in knowing your heritage. There's value in that, right? Give me Deuteronomy 10 and 12. Because what we're going to find is that once you recognize that you're Israel, that means all the things that we're reading about in the Bible pertain to you. And then there becomes automatically a requirement. Automatically, sis, a requirement. Because that means you're God's chosen people. You know that, right? Y'all, do you know that? Give me 7 and 6 first. Do you know that means that you're an Israelite means you're God's chosen people on the earth? Do you understand that? That's what Israel means, prince of the power or princess of the power. Literally the descendants of the gods. Did you know that? But we've been trained our whole life to think that's not important.
Right.
It's very important. Because when you understand the Bible, the more men like you wake up to who you truly are, the shorter the time comes till Christ can return.
Right.
He's waiting on 144,000 men. Did you know that? You've heard of that. It's important to know that. It's important to know the time we're in. We just left something called a pandemic where everyone has to walk around with a mask to be able to go into stores. Do you know Christ prophesied about that?
Bring it out.
Give me 7 and 6 and then give me Matthew 24. Let me show you something. Watch this. Read.
Deuteronomy chapter 7 and verse 6. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God.
Holy means separate. It says thou. Thou means you. You are a holy people unto the Lord thy God, meaning separate. Read.
The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself.
What does it mean to be special? Different. Different. Now, we talked earlier about what happens here in Hawaii with our Puerto Rican brothers and sisters. They choose not to be different. They choose to hide behind and say, I'm Hawaiian. No. You're Puerto Rican? Be proud of that because you're the child of Israel. Right? But we've been told to diminish that. Stamp that down. We're all equal. Notice we're only all equal once we're on the bottom of the pot. That's when we all become equal. And the only way we have any success is by qualifying to their standards,
Right.
which is by degree, which is by military, which is by finances. Not in just being who we are. Because everybody knows about code switch, but you might not know. You know what code switching is? Why do you know what that is? Right. But it's something we have to understand in order to achieve anything, right? If you just say yeah, bro. Okay. That's why you even know what it is. Right? You can't just be a black man. You got to make sure your voice goes up a little bit higher so you don't offend anyone. Just saying. In the military, they make you shave. You know what that does when that removes your facial hair? Right? You look younger. They want to see you looking like a grown man, especially a black man. That's intimidating to the other nations because we look like lions to them.
Right.
Read.
The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself, above all people that are upon the face of the earth.
Now he's talking about Ephraim and Judah. But what did he say? You are what? Equal to? He said above. He said above. So the children of Israel are set above all the people on the face of the earth. Have you been taught that before anywhere? No. No, you haven't, because society says, no, you shouldn't think that way. I'm just reading what the Bible says. God says you're better than everyone else. But you got to act better than everyone else in order to claim that. You got to be different than everyone else in order to be seen as special. Remember it said special? You got to act special. You got to be different. What makes us different? Keeping God's laws.
We used to scream black power while heroin was pushed. But at the end of the day, nothing's in vain. IUIC has been given a vision. The tents of Judah has risen. Many has attempted the mission. Minor murmuring, omitting, and missing the mark. Just reading that he had the flame of fire in his eyes gave us the spark. We on Paul's mission. We out on the road, purple and gold. From Mexico, Cuba, Haiti, Ghana, Sierra Leone. 144,000 boots banging, concrete crackling. These are our men repented at heart. The scriptures is proof. IUIC, we deliver the truth.